Christmas, instead of being a time that I could spend with my family, I spent with anorexia. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is the week before Christmas. It is actually Christmas next week. I love Christmas. It's one of the times of the year where I actually get excited. Other than that, even my own birthday, I don't get excited. I really don't. I turned 30 this year. And I was a little bit excited, but not massively. Christmas, however, and it's not because of presents. I can actually go without presents. I'm really not that bothered. It's just so fun and festive, and I get to drink alcohol on Christmas Day in the morning, the moment I wake up, without any judgment, and that is the most important thing. Sorry, I'm just picking stuff off the carpet. You don't realise until you're on a carpet how dirty it can be sometimes. I will stop going off on tangents about my life and what I've been doing today and get to the crux of this video, which, as you can see by the title, it's all about festive food anxieties. But it is the festive season, and anyone with an eating disorder will, or most people with a eating disorder, it's not everyone, don't want to put a blanket statement out there, but a lot of people, particularly me, and I'm one of those, this is a time of the year where anxieties increase. Instead of it being a time of celebration, it becomes a source of great concern, of great anxiety. I'm just going to move this forwards a little bit more. So yes, instead of it being a time of celebration, it becomes a source of concern and anxiety because you feel overwhelmed with and concerned by the prospect of being less restrictive, of being surrounded by food and by drink, and by the pressure to eat that food and to drink that drink. That pressure to put yourself and remain in an environment with a bunch of people that you just don't feel comfortable with. People who you love and you consider friends, but you're worried that people are going to be staring at you. You worried that people are going to be asking you how you are, or God, you look so thin, or have you been unwell, or just commenting on your eating habits, which can exacerbate things and make it worse because you feel like the spotlight is on you. And if we know anything about an eating disorder, anything about anorexia, it thrives in the darkness. The eating disorder doesn't want to be put into the spotlight. It wants to do its work in secret, away from prying eyes of friends and family, because then it can't be spotted, it can't be challenged, it can't be tackled. And Christmas was for me, and it probably is for many people watching this, just the opposite of what it should be. It used, you might have grown up loving Christmas as a child, thinking, getting really excited and giddy the weeks leading up to it, putting up the Christmas tree, decorating it, taking chocolates off the Christmas tree, waking up in the morning, opening presents, having Christmas dinner. But all of a sudden, you feel dread, and that's just really sad. It's sad because instead of focusing on communication and access to family and loved ones as being the most restricted it ever has been in at least our generation's lifetime, but we expend so much energy, or at least I did. I expended so much energy, which just drained me, mental energy, worrying about food, worrying about how I'm going to burn all of that food off. And it's that burn it to earn it mentality of I can't eat it, it's 400 calories, that means a 5-mile run. Or I have to get up in the morning and go for a run at 6 a.m. before I can justify having Bucks Fizz or champagne in the morning. And it's tiring. It's fucking tiring. It genuinely is. It saps the enjoyment out of food and Christmas itself. You begin worrying about the impact it's going to have on your waistline, how guilty you are going to feel come Boxing Day or the 27th. And it just piles more pressure because not only are you struggling to deal with things as it is on a normal day, with work, with school, with university, relationships, whatever else it is, combine that with tackling an eating disorder, then put Christmas on top of that, and it's genuinely overwhelming. And I struggled for many, many years. I remember having in particular, one Christmas, I was with my dad and his partner, and I just couldn't cope. And I was upstairs crying my eyes out. But again, you know, people who haven't watched this, who haven't watched a previous video, I was in my early 20s. I'm 30 now, so I was in my early 20s when I had anorexia. So I was still a young adult, and I was crying my eyes out upstairs into my sister's arms, into my dad's arms, just like, I can't do this. I feel so drained. And I think I'd even gone out for a run that morning. And when I used to exercise back then, it was train to failure, go hard or go home. If my lungs aren't burning at the end of that run, if I haven't gone for an all-out sprint in the last 100 to 200 meters, then I've not worked hard enough. And I remember doing that, and it was an awful time. Christmas, instead of being a time that I could spend with my family, I spent with anorexia. I spent my Christmas with Anna, with a eating disorder. That is who I had Christmas with. I didn't have it with my family. I had it with a mental health illness. Was who I opened my presents with, was who I woke up with, who I ate or didn't eat my food with. And it was horrible, because I, like everyone, I love my family, but I love getting together with my family. I love those times because it doesn't happen often when I get together with my family in a big group setting. So when I do, I really want to make the most of it, because I want memories to last. And the thing with Christmas is food in general, but particularly at Christmas time, food is linked to memories. Food is a social thing. They say that the kitchen is the heart of the house. And if you are preoccupied with food, with the effects that food is going to have on you, with worrying about people shining a light on your behaviour and your mental state, you are creating the wrong kind of memories. You are not creating memories that you're going to cherish, and that is not your fault. You are ill. And let's just get that straight right now. If you have an eating disorder, you are not weak, you are not a failure, you are ill. You have a mental illness, a certifiable and diagnosable mental health illness. At Christmas, when it comes to food, you seem to, or at least in my head, I had two choices. Number one was complete overindulgence and the inevitable feeling of guilt and overwhelm. Option number two was at the other end of the spectrum, which was complete restriction, which was fasting for days beforehand or eating very little days beforehand, ramping up exercise and activity levels, and just stress. Food constantly being on my mind. And, neither choice was great, and I ended up doing both at different periods over the past 10 years of not quite pressing the fuck it button, but thinking to myself, I'm going to eat whatever I want, and then not feeling great a couple of days later, or like the next day, or doing the complete opposite. I'm really restricting myself, and then feeling, because in my mind, I was thinking, if I restrict myself, then I won't feel that bad the next day, because I won't feel like I've overindulged. But the thing is, inherent within an eating disorder is extreme restriction, which is the path that I went down. When I look back, I think to myself, I was unable to find a middle ground of eating what I want, but not overdoing it. And I kind of got to that point last year where I found a good middle ground, where I was like, what's a couple of days going to do to my physique? And that is where I'm at this moment. And that's kind of my approach this year. I felt, and I'm sure there are lots of people out there who can relate to this, who felt guilty for enjoying a meal, because you thought, or at least I thought, that by enjoying it, I was somehow overindulging in that meal. I was somehow being weak because I couldn't say no. And also the very constant thought and worry of, I'm going to get fat. I'm going to get fat. If I have this stuffing, if I have this and I have that. And, you know, I think about it now, and food should not be a source of anxiety. Food should not cause you to feel guilty, to feel like a failure, or to feel weak. There is absolutely no reason why you should feel bad for enjoying a meal, even if that meal is more than you would usually have. So you've eaten more than you typically would. Because, and I say this consistently with my own clients, one day of overeating is not going to make you fat. What makes you put on weight is consistently eating too much, week after week, actually month after month. That is where weight is put on. It's not the odd day here or there, the odd day every 2 or 3 months. It's just not. So I will go into this Christmas with a different mindset. And that mindset I will get onto now. And then I will talk about actually what am I going to do practically, not just psychologically in terms of my mindset and my attitude, but what am I doing practically? And kind of like what you could do, which is how I approached it with my family. Hi everyone, so I actually decided to split this video up into two, mainly because actually there was a lot of content. If you are watching this, you are now at the end of part 1, and part 2 is also available either now or it will be shortly in the next day or so. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe so that you're notified of the second video coming / being uploaded to YouTube. If it has stopped abruptly and you're seeing my face now, that is why. So stay tuned for part 2.